So your low back pain is flared up. It's stiff and painful, and now it's hard to do even small movements and activities around the house. Let's talk about how to fix this and how to get out of flare-ups quickly and effectively. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Nate. I'm a licensed doctor of physical therapy and the founder of Back Unbroken, where we've helped hundreds of people overcome debilitating chronic back pain. In this video, we're gonna go over my 3-step flare-up framework so you can get back to living your life. I call this framework ACT, or ACT, which stands for Assess, Calm, and Titrate. So let's get right into the first step, which is to assess. It's really hard to treat or get out of a flare-up if you don't know what caused it in the first place or what might have contributed to it. So our first step is to really try to understand why this is happening. Sometimes it's obvious. You did some kind of movement or some kind of activity that was way beyond what your body was prepared for. Maybe you picked up a heavy weight or you were moving furniture around the house, and there was just some moment where you felt a clear before and after when the flare-up started. And sometimes it's more ambiguous and mysterious. You just wake up one day and your back is hurting more than usual. Or throughout the day, it just slowly builds up until it becomes that debilitating, all-consuming flare-up. Whatever the case may be, it's really important to look at the whole context and try to figure out which factors contributed to this. A few big ones to look at are things like sleep, stress, and your movement or activity levels over the last week or so. There may have been one single triggering event that looks like it caused the entire flare-up, but oftentimes, for lack of a better metaphor, that is the final straw that breaks the camel's back. In other words, there were probably a lot of other invisible contributing factors that were building up in the background that led you to be more susceptible to that moment. So do a quick assessment of your entire life over the last week or so. This will help you fully understand why the flare-up happened, it'll take some of the mystery out of it, and it'll make it easier to prevent future flare-ups. So how has your sleep been over the last week, and particularly right before the flare-up? How have your stress levels been? Are you in a season of higher stress or more responsibility or things to think about? Did you just have a major life event or shift that would put your body and nervous system more on high alert? Were you trying to progress too quickly in some kind of exercise or maybe jogging or a sport? Have you been taking more steps than you usually do on a daily basis or a lot less steps? All these things can have major contributions to pain and can really set you up for a nasty flare-up, even if it was some kind of movement or activity that looked like it caused the entire thing. Anytime we make deviations to either of these extremes, where we're either doing too much too quickly or too little for too long, it sets your body up to be unprepared for what you're gonna give it next. And then boom, a flare-up happens, and we tend to blame that exact movement or activity that we just did without looking at the weeks or months of preparedness or lack of preparedness that led up to it. So just take a full assessment of your life and try to write down on a piece of paper or in the notes on your phone all the possible contributors that could have led to this flare-up. This really will help to put your mind and body at ease that there's a reason why this stuff happens and that it's not completely random and that it often is more in your control than you think it is. Okay, step number 2 in our flare-up framework. We have to calm things down. When you have a flare-up, your body and nervous system will automatically go into this high alert fight or flight mode, where you have heightened sensitivity, you have more muscle guarding and tightness, and your body is just constantly looking for danger at every corner. So we need to calm this reaction way down and get your body to recognize that it's safe. One of the first things that can really help with this is just to understand that flare-ups don't usually mean extra damage or injury. It's really common to think that if you have a massive flare-up and you have a ton of pain, that it automatically means that you exploded something in your spine or caused a lot of damage or a new injury. The good news is that this isn't usually the case. It totally feels like that, but oftentimes that pain and that stiffness and guarding you get in a flare-up is a hypersensitive response of your body and nervous system to keep you in this overprotected mode. So that's the first thing just to understand, is that pain, even if it's really bad, doesn't always mean damage. And there's a few things that we can physically do to push your body in this direction and get your nervous system to calm down. The two things we're gonna work on are breathing and muscle relaxation. There's two good options that I usually recommend for this, depending on which position feels better to you. The first option involves laying on your back in a hook lying position on a comfortable surface. If you feel comfortable doing this on the ground or on a yoga mat, that's totally fine. But I would also recommend trying this on a comfortable surface like your bed or a couch. What we want to do here is combine very gentle movement in your lower back and your spine with slow, controlled breathing. Here's how you do it. As you inhale slowly for about 4 seconds, you want to focus on ever so slightly arching into a little bit of back extension. This means that your stomach will go up and your lower back will slightly arch up off the surface. After inhaling for 4 seconds, hold that breath for about 3 to 4 seconds as well, before exhaling for 4 seconds as you slowly relax your spine down onto the surface. So again, inhale for 4 as you slowly arch your back up into a little bit of extension. Hold that position and that breath for about 4 seconds, and then release for 4 seconds as you totally relax your back onto the surface you're laying on. As you're doing this, it can be really helpful to send your brain all kinds of safety signals. You want to flood your brain and nervous system with the idea that this is safe, your pain doesn't mean damage, and that you will get out of this. And go through as many rounds of this as is helpful. The other way to perform this is with what I call spine size, which is essentially the same movement and breathing technique, but in a seated position. You want to sit in a comfortable chair and go through that same 4x4x4 breathing process, starting with a slow 4-second inhale as you go into a little bit of extension, arching up, a 4-second hold of that breath and position, and then a slow 4-second exhale where you almost want to slump forward into a little bit of flexion. Again, don't force this. There's no need to go as far forward as you possibly can, but you want it to almost mimic a sigh of relief where you slowly exhale all the tension and muscle guarding in your back. So pick one of those positions, either the hook lying variation or the seated spine sigh variation, and go through a few rounds of that controlled breathing and relaxation. Okay, the final step in our flare-up framework is titrate. Titration is usually a term we use in chemistry, which describes the process of slowly adding one solution to another until you get a reaction. So it's basically the concept of adding the smallest possible dosage of something until you hit the right level. And that's exactly the same approach we want to take when getting out of a flare-up. We don't want to do too much too soon, and we also don't want to do nothing. We want to find just the right dosage of movement that helps push your body in the positive direction. And we don't have to make this super complicated. We can titrate just the basic fundamental movements of your lower back. Your lower back can go into flexion where it rounds forward, extension where it arches back, side bending, and rotation. And if we just start by titrating these 4 basic movements, that'll get you off in the right direction. So find a comfortable place to sit, or if sitting is really uncomfortable right now, you can do this standing. And what you want to do is give your body the smallest possible version of each of those 4 movements. Practice ever so slightly bending forward into just a little bit of flexion, just whatever your body feels comfortable and safe with. And give your body 8 to 12 reps of that movement. Then repeat the same thing in extension. Arch back into whatever range of motion you feel comfortable with and give your body 8 to 12 repetitions of that. Try bending left to right with whatever your body feels okay with. And then finish off with some light rotations, left to right. And again, the key here is to start small. Start with something that almost feels too easy, but give your back some gentle range of motion and give your body some reassurance that it can do these movements. Over the coming days and weeks, practice this a few times a day and try to slowly titrate up the range of motion that you're using in all directions. And at the same time, you can start titrating up your other activities and hobbies. And again, the key is to start with the smallest possible version of that movement or activity that you want to get back into, but to approach it rather than avoid it. Even though it's kind of counterintuitive to go towards the things that are uncomfortable or things that might give you pain, that really is the fastest way to get out of these flare-ups, as long as you take it slow and don't do too much too soon. If you need more help with any of this, or you want a structured game game plan to really beat chronic back pain for good, go check out what I do at Back Unbroken. We have a full step-by-step system designed to rebuild your back and rewire your nervous system and really put this thing behind you. So if you need more help or you're interested in learning more, I'll leave a link down below. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. If you're staying here on YouTube, watch this video next. And leave a comment down below if you have any questions or there's any videos you want me to make in the future. I'll see you in the next one.